Hey guys, welcome to the Seven-Figure Advisor Marketing Program. Listen, marketing in financial services is extremely tricky. It's extremely tricky. And this is the reason why it's tricky. Because financial services, life insurance, advisory service, retirement planning, those are not necessarily considered to be needed service most of the time. For example, the blue collar type professions where they're doing a roof or some electrical work or landscaping, maybe they're having a patio or a deck built, you don't have to chase those people down in order to get them to sign up for your service. Most of these people are reaching out to you. Maybe having a pool or a hot tub in their backyard is their dream outcome, or having their kitchen remodeled is a dream outcome, or maybe they have to replace their roof and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you've got a leaky roof, you've got to get it replaced, right? But in financial services, life insurance in particular, there's a different kind of vibe that goes along with it. Nobody is running to the door, calling you up and saying, I'd love to have life insurance. Can you help me with my finances? That one happens, but not very, very often, right? Recommend a portfolio for me. Sign me up for an IUL. Tell me about a tax-free retirement. Which annuity has the best caps and the best premium bonus? That almost never happens. And people do that in other industries. So this is a key difference. Marketing for financial services versus other industries. And you have to know that, and you have to have that as a foundation in order to be successful when you're marketing in financial services. You want to get people to meet with. Now, that being said, financial services is probably one of the most lucrative industries that there is. There's very low barrier to entry. And if you find the right mentor and you do the right marketing, is the easiest way to make six figures, in my opinion. It's also the easiest way to make 250, 500,000, and eventually get to that seven-figure mark. There are not many industries that I know that you can do that by yourself or with a very small team. So it's not that it's that hard necessarily. It's simple. I would say it's simple, but not easy in order to get to that seven-figure mark. And if you're watching this and you're part of the program, that's what this program is all about. It's educating you on the marketing aspect so that you know the difference between a good company and a bad company. We don't want to take business away from the other marketing companies that you guys are working with. In fact, I strongly recommend that you have more than one lead vendor, maybe even two or three as you grow and you start to make more money. You need to have multiple lead vendors. Absolutely necessary. So the Seven-Figure Advisor complements those. We provide a centralized hub. We provide the training, the coaching, the mentorship. We give you some appointments. We give you some leads, but we also can be your fiduciary advisor in helping you select those marketing programs. If you want to run paid advertisements, we'll run the paid ads for you. We're not even going to charge you anything. Pay the ad spend. We'll put them up. Listen, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend. We know what works and what doesn't. So the very first thing that I want to tell you is that I want to help you as you select a marketing company to work with. If you're selecting a marketing company to work with, it can be a little tricky. But there is one mistake that you should not make when you hand over your money to another company. You need to make sure that they have run that campaign before. You need to make sure that they've gotten leads or appointments for other financial professionals in the past, and you want to see proof of that, and you want to talk to those people. I would not pay $1 to a marketing company until they show you that they've run those successful campaigns. Now, there are some good marketing companies out there, and there are some that from scratch would be able to take your money, turn it into a campaign, and turn that into a good ROI for you. But on average, it takes lots of time and money to get a marketing campaign that works for financial services. Remember, because people aren't dying to sign up for financial services. Like, we already know that. So in order to get a successful campaign, for example, some of our successful campaigns take $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 before we get one appointment. Some of them take several $1,000s before we get one lead that we get in touch with, right? And so if you have that as the backdrop and you know that people aren't beating down our doors, you can then understand why it's so hard to market for financial services. There is no shortage of companies that will take your money. They will run some campaigns. They'll get you what appear to be some leads, and there are some people opting in from time to time. And then they do that, and then they're like, here you go, here's your leads. And this is another failure. This is another misestimation of effort, because leads and appointments are two different things. And appointments and people that are willing to talk to you about their finances are also two different things. Okay. So we have to really identify what we're after at the end of the day in order to decide what type of marketing you want to do. There are multiple channels, and I will get to the different types of channels, which ones I recommend and which ones I don't, in this video. And then I have a detailed video on each individual marketing channel: Facebook, door knocking, cold calling, referrals, Instagram, TikTok, flyers. I mean, you name it. I go over all of them in this series. So make sure you check out those other videos because they are very, very valuable. Now, I don't want to undersell or make it seem like that I'm kind of bashing some of these other marketing companies. Just in the same way they're out to make a living, you are too, right? And a lot of them are really gung-ho and they're willing to take a crack at it. But if you leave this video with anything else, please just understand that you have to have a marketing company that has worked in your industry. We create several thousand appointments and tens of thousands of leads every single month, and that's all we do. If I had a chiropractor come to me and say, "Hey, Jamie, I want you to generate some leads for us," I would say, we can't do it, right? We turn away business all the time because it would take multiple months and multiple iterations and thousands of dollars in ad spend to get it to where there was one good, successful action with that chiropractor. So find the company that is doing nothing but marketing for financial services and get the reviews. See what their customers think about it. And the customers, reviews on the website are one thing. Talk to a couple people, get some references. Anybody that's worth their weight in marketing dollars will be happy to give you some references. And don't be afraid to spend some money. Well, I should preface that. Let me back up. You don't want to be afraid to spend some money because good marketing is expensive. Cheap marketing is not good, okay? You can't have it every which way. So, be prepared to spend some money. But if you got to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, we've got clients that spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 every single month with us. And they do that because it's profitable. Because for every dollar they spend, they get a return of $5 or $7 or maybe even more. So that's really all I wanted to say about the types of marketing. Find the right person. Use multiple lead vendors. It's going to cost you some money. You might not ROI net positive on day one. That is totally fine. Now, I'm going to briefly touch on some of the other channels that we have here. There's a lot of different companies that will do lead gen, and they focus on one particular thing. The reason that they do that is because when you scale and create a lot of appointments or leads doing one particular thing, you can figure out ways to get lots of them, and then that brings the cost down. Think of like a car manufacturer or something like that. But if you've got somebody that's working across all channels, they've either spent a lot of money doing that or they're not very good at doing that because it's very hard to do that very well and coordinated. So the absolute cheapest bang for your marketing dollar is to go to Google, set up a Google My Business profile, set up a website that has your name and your brand on it. And I always recommend naming your company the area that you live in. So for example, we have, it might be Columbus Wealth Management or Ohio Wealth Management or Ohio Insurance Services. Use these very generic names. Listen, if you're not trying to be the next Nationwide or the next Huntington or the next Ed Jones, the brand and the domain that you pick are absolutely worthless. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see your new brand and your new retirement idea and go, wow, I really got to meet with this guy. Now, if you want to put some time into it and actually build the brand, then that's totally fine. But if you're just starting out, you really don't need to do that. All you need to do is get a domain, call it Texas Wealth Management or Austin Wealth Management or Austin Insurance Services, something to that effect. You set up your Google business profile, you make sure that phone number works, you fill out your profile. And then if you're inside the 7-Figure Advisor program, we can populate that information across 90 different directories. And so when we do that, your information will go out across the internet. And then when people search for things that are on your website, such as wealth management, insurance services, it'll pop up and you'll actually be the first hit in Google. Now, you don't have to pay to have SEO works. If you're not familiar with search engine optimization, this is just the simplest way to put it is how you show up when somebody searches. So if somebody searches for insurance services near me, again, remember the blue collar example, not a lot of searches for that. But if somebody searches that, you want to at least be sure that you've done the right things so that when they do search it, your website shows up. The second step in that process is when they land on your website, what happens? Where do they go? Do they just submit a lead form? It goes into your email and then you contact them 3 days later? Or do you have a virtual assistant that reaches out and contacts them? Or do you have artificial intelligence that will schedule your appointments for you? So you can see that like really quickly we get into the rabbit hole of doing things properly, because even when I give you a free method of setting up your Google page and setting up your Facebook, Instagram, social media accounts, and then the website, which is not necessarily free, although we do provide those to all the advisors on our program. But even when you do that, then it becomes an issue of, well, how good is my website? How do people opt in? And then once they opt in, how do I contact them? And then once I contact them, what's the appointment flow? And then does life get in the way? And do they show up to the first appointment? Does it go good? Do they ask questions? Are they open? Are they honest? All the way through the sales process. And when you really go down this rabbit hole and you start to break this down, you can see why there might be a breakdown and why you might be struggling with making commissions, making AUM fees, whatever it is you're doing. You can see because it's complex. There is so much to running a proper seven-figure advisor agency. There's so much to it. The easiest example, and I like to think of most financial professionals, life insurance agents, financial advisors, for the most part, have the entrepreneurial spirit. They consider themselves entrepreneurs and business owners, and they are willing to take more risk in order to get more reward. So that's my observation with the advisors that I've worked with on this program and across all of programs. Now, I want you to go, again, think about another industry, because sometimes by comparison, we can realize things about our industry. I want you to think about a doctor. A doctor gets a bachelor's degree in biology or chemistry, and then they get an advanced degree, and then they go to medical school, and then they do a residency. So they may have 10 or 12 years of education and training, and then they have to learn how to run a business, which there are lots of solutions for that if you're familiar with the medical industry, but they don't necessarily know. They didn't go to school to run a business. They might have taken a marketing course or a business course, but they didn't go to school for that. The same way applies to financial services. In that same regard, you know about the products, you know about the recommendations, you know about the insurance, the AUM, the portfolios, you know about all of that stuff. But if you are not running your business as a business, you're never going to scale. You're going to hit these walls and it's different for everybody. It might be 50 grand. It might be 70 grand a year. It might be 100 grand. I mean, if you're in the industry and you're spending money on marketing, everybody falls into a commission every now and then, right? But you have to really set your targets. And that's what the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is if you set your targets at where you want to be, that becomes easier than just hunting for a marketing source. What do I do? Maybe I'll try this one. Maybe I'll try this one. Maybe I'll try this one. If you want to be a true seven-figure advisor, if you want to have $1 million year, a seven-figure year, which is not as hard as you might think it is, it's not easy, but it is simple. It's simpler than you might think. And all you have to do is have the right tools, do the right steps, be organized, spend your dollars wisely, and there are enough hours for you to do that by yourself, with an assistant, with a small team. It depends on how you want to go. And so if you set your targets and you say, hey, I want to have a $500,000 day or year, rather, that'd be a good day. If I want to have a $500,000 a year, okay, well, I break that down. How much do I have to make? I got to make 40 grand-ish a month. So to make 40 grand a month, I got to make 10 grand a week. Well, how many people do I need to meet with to make 10 grand a week? If you're in life insurance, it's probably 3 or 4 or 5. If you're doing IULs, maybe a little bit less. If you're doing annuities, maybe you only got to close one $150,000 annuity to make $10,000 a week. Okay, back that up. How many people do I have to meet with to close one $100,000 annuity? I got to meet with 6. Okay, so if I got to meet with 6 and then every 20% of them cancel, I actually have to have 8 on the calendar, right? This is all just the mathematics of how you can engineer your future and your success. 100%. You have to decide how much you want and you figure out the math. And if that's the case, we need 8, 9, 10 appointments every single week on your calendar. Okay, which marketing programs are going to do that for me? That's 40 appointments a month. Which marketing programs are going to be able to provide me 40 appointments a month? And the reason that I bring that up is because I just met with a guy who signed up for our program, and his target was $500,000 a year. That was his next target. More than doable, but you're not going to do that on 10 appointments a month. You just aren't. You aren't going to do that unless these are double vetted, confirmed, very, very qualified and graded appointments. You're not going to do it on 10 appointments a month. And so even in the best case scenario for this guy, the best case scenario, he wasn't going to hit his 500K. And that's all I wanted to talk to you about today, guys. The marketing is key. If you need any help in selecting a marketing agency, listen, we have a rating system for every marketing company that works in the financial services space. It's an open, honest, transparent rating system. And we provide that as a part of our program because we don't want you guys to waste your marketing dollars. We are making it our job to get you to 7 figures as fast as possible, as fast as you can possibly do it. It might be a year, 2 years. It might take some guys 5 years. I know when I started in the industry, it took me almost 5 years total to make 7 figures, but I could start over again and do it in 6 months today. So that really plays to the fact that, knowledge is power, and it's not necessarily hustling or working hard. Really, it is. It's more important that you do the right things and you have the right tools. And that's what the 7-Figure Advisor program is. There's a button around this video if you guys want more info. If you have a question or there's any video that you would like to see, drop it in the comments. I'm happy to hop on here and make one for you. And we'll see you guys soon.